From WFRV TV, Local 5, serving Northeast Wisconsin, including Green Bay, Fox Cities, and the Lakeshore. This is Newsmaker Sunday.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Tom Zalaski. Victims of domestic violence in Brown County. They've got a safe place to turn to in Golden House. It has been helping victims for the past 45 years. And joining us this morning, the brand new Executive Director of Golden House, Mika Bernicle, to my immediate right, and Development Manager of Golden House, Marissa Heim. Ladies, good morning. Good to have you here. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of Golden House, how about the nuts and bolts of Mika and Marissa?
Sure.
Mika, your pathway to becoming Executive Director of Golden House.
Sure. So I have been working in Brown County for about, oh my goodness, around 30 years, providing all different types of nonprofit services. I actually started at another local nonprofit in the area and oversaw about 30 different programs there. And they ranged from anywhere from after school programming to homeless programming, after school programming, just a plethora of different services. Really looking at people being self-sufficient and being able to find livable wages type jobs, and really just wanted to see how I could be a voice for those that can't be a voice for themselves.
So you know the area.
I do.
For sure. Marissa, where did you come from?
So I've actually been at Golden House for just around 7 years in a variety of roles. I left for a little bit and I came back just around the same time Mika did as Development Manager.
The new position for you as Executive Director, how's it going? Surprises, challenges?
Oh, I think there's always surprises and challenges, but it's really been going wonderful. I think the thing that is so absolutely wonderful about Golden House is the staff that work there. They are amazing, and they really, you know, they're there for the right reasons. They're there to help victims and to be able to establish them back in the community in a safe manner, and ensure that they get the services that they need so that they can be successfar
And how long in the position now have you been?
This is my 5th week.
5th week, brand new to the job. How are you funded?
We're funded in a variety of different ways. So we have private donors. We also have local funding, state funding, and federal funding.
Okay, Marissa, Golden House, if you were to say your mission was what?
Yes, so Golden House's mission is to provide safety and support for victims of domestic violence while also leading efforts to end domestic violence in our community. So it's really twofold. It's supporting victims in that immediate situation and then also preventing it from happening in our community through a variety of programs that we offer.
Now you've got a brand new facility.
We do.
I pass it every day coming into work. A beautiful building. I remember, there it is. I remember back in the day, your old building. I think you were able to house, I think you had 10 or 11 rooms. You could handle 44 people, and that was about it. And the need became so great. Tell us about how this came about and what do you have now?
Sure. We actually have a 34,000 square foot facility now. It has 20 rooms and we can house 60 individuals.
So you've almost doubled your space.
We have, yes, we've doubled our capacity. And to be honest, we probably could have tripled our capacity. There's a lot of people in need.
And how long has it been up and running, the new place?
Well, everybody went into that facility in January. So we actually merged, we were in 2 different sites from what I understand, and actually merged all of our advocates back into this facility in January. So we've been up and running successfully since January.
Okay, and what about the old facility? What's happening there?
Yeah, so the old facility that we were in that you mentioned that had 11 bedrooms was in the exact same location where our new facility is. And we did have to, demo that entire building in order to provide space for our new facility. And those 2 temporary spaces were provided by us by generous community partners. They're still up and standing, and they went back to their original owners, but we would not have been able to make that happen if it was not for the support of our community.
So the new facility, you've got the bedrooms, you can house 60 people or so. What's in there as far as facilities, living rooms, kitchens? What do you have?
Oh, we have an abundance of things, which is wonderful. We're able actually to provide not only shelter services, but we're also providing prevention and outreach services. We have We're able to also have therapy. We have children's therapy and adult therapy that is free to anyone that is receiving our services or anyone that is getting outreach and prevention services as well.
All right, we're going to talk about those specific services in a moment, right after this break. So please stay with us. It is Golden House this morning. We're right back. Welcome back to Newsmaker Sunday. We are talking Golden House this morning. The numbers are staggering. Domestic abuse survivors in Brown County. Just in 2023 alone, more than 2,500 clients, more than 400 people sheltered, close to 12,000 helpline calls. Unbelievable numbers, and you said that you could still use more room than what you have in your new facility.
You know, the reality is that there's a very large need in Brown County. There's a lot of victims in our community. We are so incredibly thankful for the room that we were able to expand to. And when we look at what, services will look like in the future, we know that there might be more need out there.
Up the road. Some of the services that you mentioned earlier. First of all, let me ask you about safety planning.
Yes.
What do we do there?
Yeah, so our advocates, we actually have a variety of advocates in our building. Yeah. Our advocates are trained to provide that immediate safety response for our clients. So we have crisis advocates available 24/7 in our shelter that they can provide someone support if they call, text, walk in, but they're identifying that immediate safety concern, whether that be looking for a restraining order, shelter, some general support, and really assessing what their needs are.
All right, what about crisis counseling? What goes into that?
Yeah, again, so that is those individuals that are answering those immediate helpline calls, those text messages, and again, they can make those referrals to our therapist as well if they need ongoing support, and making sure that that immediate safety response is addressed. They also respond to all law enforcement calls. So in Brown County, when there is an arrest made that involves domestic violence, we receive information of it on our end, and our crisis advocates then can reach out and support that victim and offer all of our services to them because they may not be aware of what we have to offer.
And this text and hotline, that's 24 hours. You have people on all the time. Back to the numbers, 400 people sheltered. What is the emergency sheltering process? What happens when somebody calls you? Says, I got to get out of here. I need to come to your place. What do you do?
Well, what we would do is we'd do an assessment with them, right? And we would
like on the phone?
We would do.
Okay.
We'll do an assessment with them on the phone, and we'll actually assess to see what their needs are, to figure out if there's an immediate need, and they need shelter, and then if there's not an immediate need, again, talked about safety plans and what that looks like, and see if there's either a family member or someone that they know that they're able to go and actually be safe for the evening. If it's shelter that they're requiring and we have room at our facility, then we will work with them to actually bring them to the shelter so that they and their children, if they have children, are able to be safe for the evening in our shelter.
And this is both for individuals and families.
Yep.
It is.
And so when if a family comes in, you've got a bedroom. I mean, how many, a mother and how many kids can you handle in one room?
Well, I love that you asked that, actually, because our facility is very unique in the sense that the way that it was actually architected was that we wanted to make sure that we had rooms that were available for large families. So in order to do that, it's more like a hotel setting, right? So there are 10 rooms on each floor, and it almost looks like a wing of hotel rooms. So when you go in, there are 2 rooms that adjoin. They have an adjoining door. So if we have a really large family, we're actually able to open up that door, and that large family can reside together all in one space so that their parents are aware of where their children are at all times.
And how long can a person or family stay with you? Is there a certain criteria? benchmarks? What happens
Sure.
there?
So we work with those families on an ongoing basis, and there's different situations for every family that we're working with as far as their need. The average stay with us right now is about 34 days, but we are finding that some of our families have been more long-term because our ability to actually move them into the community and find landlords that are actually willing to work with these families has been a little more difficult. So we've seen more about 52 days for those folks.
All right. What is restraining and risk assessment? What does that mean?
Yeah, so our advocates are able to help through the court process. If one of our clients that is either living with us or using us on an outreach basis is looking to go through the court process of getting a restraining order, our advocates are trained to assist them every step of the way.
This is all just heavy stuff.
Yes.
I mean, it's to the outsider, my goodness. All right, we have much more to come on this, so please stay with us. And welcome back to Newsmaker Sunday. Golden House is our topic this morning. Mika and Marissa with us from Golden House. We've been told that 1 in 4 women, 1 in 7 men are victims of domestic abuse in their lifetime. A lot of people. That abuse takes many forms. What types of abuse are we talking about here?
Yeah, so some pretty common ones that we see at Golden House, of course, are physical abuse. So things like hitting, slapping, shoving, pinching, biting, hair pulling. It may or may not leave a mark on the victim. And we don't.
It leaves a mark.
It could. It doesn't always have to.
Mentally, it leaves a mark.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course, of course. Of course, sexual abuse as well. And then we're looking at emotional abuse, which is exactly what you just alluded to. So breaking someone down, making them feel bad about themselves, using words, name calling, is just a few examples. Of course, we also have financial abuse, digital abuse. Again, those are just a few to name, but some of the more common ones that we see at Golden House.
And leaving an abusive situation, that's the tough part.
It is. It is, and it takes many times, oftentimes, for someone to leave. So when people are thinking, why don't they leave? Why don't they leave that situation? You know, they've been in that situation oftentimes for many, many years, and so it takes usually on average about 7 times before they will actually truly leave and not go back.
Wow. And tell me this, is this a true statement that I have heard over and over again? The time you leave is the most dangerous time?
I think, yes, it can be. I think sometimes when you get closer to the end, some of those times are more and more dangerous than in the beginning. But that very last time where they absolutely know that you're not coming back can be extremely dangerous, yeah.
And what about the kids? What kind of an effect does it have on the kids? When a mother comes in with 4 kids, do the kids know what the heck is going on?
Oftentimes they're just so confused, and if it is in the middle of the night, sometimes they don't really know what's going on until the morning. I think though, what we have to remember is when children are in the middle of dealing with abuse, abuseful households, they are very traumatized, and unfortunately in many of those families they become numb to that. They start to just kind of, it's like they're normal, right? That's their crisis that they're living in. They kind of become accustomed to that. And so they tune things out, or they try not to listen to what's going on in the house. But when they actually leave that, that's when they start to realize that wasn't normal. And that's where they start to ask questions, and that's where they start to say to myself, why did I think that was okay? Or they start to go the opposite way, where they start to lash out because they're just not sure what is going on. So they start to have these behaviors that are not normal behaviors for them. So that's when they're in school, and some of those things can be identified in the schools. They'll start to see some of those behaviors. So there's more of that hands-on activity that happens in the educational systems at that point too.
And when children come to Golden House, do they still go to school? You know, the next morning?
Yeah, they do.
Or the next day or whatever?
They do. Our advocates will work with homeless school liaisons that are identified in the schools to ensure that they have transportation. And we will make sure that they do indeed get to school and they continue with their educational plan.
Are you seeing an increase in teen abuse, teen dating abuse?
I would say it's probably, as with our trends, of course, we're serving more individuals, we're seeing more clients reach out for services. I would say it's probably consistent with teens as well. Domestic violence, unfortunately, does not discriminate. It can happen to anyone, the teen population included. I think that there's so many factors that go into it too, with being young, being in a relationship. You add in social media and just the pressures of being a teen, that there's a lot of dynamics that can play into it, and they're not immune to being in an unhealthy relationship as well.
Okay, there is somebody out there right now watching this program, and they're saying to themselves, I know somebody who's in that situation. What should that person do? I know my friend is being abused. What should I do?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that they can do. Number one, they can try to give information to that particular person. You know, they can definitely give them our information, give them our website, give them our telephone number, and all of those numbers should be up on the screen during this show, and please have them reach out to us. But they also can call, and they can speak with an advocate as well and find out information as far as brochures or different things that they can pick up to make sure that they know what to tell that particular person, to try to encourage them. If someone has been physically harmed, making sure that they're getting the resources that they need. If they need to go to the hospital, get them to the hospital. If we need to get law enforcement into that home, you know, certainly they can do that as well.
All right, we are back to wrap up with Golden House in just a moment, so please stay right there. We are back now with Golden House and the services that they provide to domestic abuse victims and survivors. You've got your own staff, but I take it you also need volunteers. How many do you need? What do these people do?
Sure, we're always looking for volunteers. We need volunteers for everything from coming in to look at our food supplies and making meals, making sure that we have meals both for our families that are on site, as well as if there was anyone else that was in need of food. We need volunteers to answer phones. So we have a system in place where they can come in and they can answer the phones. We have volunteers that sort out all of the donated items that we actually receive. So we're always looking for volunteers, as well as with some of our holiday events. We have a holiday party that's coming up, so we're looking for volunteers for that as well.
All right, we're going to put up a graphic here to give the information about Golden House, how people can get a hold of you. And as we do that, let's talk about you need money and you need stuff. All right, first of all, money. What do you need? How can people help?
Sure. So we have Adopt a Family right now that we are looking for families to adopt the families that are residing in our shelter and receiving services from us. So if you're interested in that, please go to our website and you'll be able to do just a quick little survey and fill it out, and we would love for you to be able to adopt one of our families.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
And we're also looking for just regular donations. This time of year can be very difficult for people that are walking in our doors. Sometimes we will have families that will come without coats. So we're always looking for coats. We're always looking for food that can be donated. And we're always looking for things that can help them with their educational plan as well.
Okay, and you also got to have the mundane stuff. You got to have shampoo.
We do.
And toilet tissue. What falls under that parameter?
So being in our newer, larger facility, we always need lots of goods to make sure we can sustain and take care of our clients that are living with us. So we're always looking for basic hygiene products, shampoo, conditioner, body soap, things for adults and for children as well. We're also looking for those goods to just make sure our shelter is clean at all times, especially with the sniffle season coming up, cleaning supplies, again, those things like Lysol wipes, toilet paper, paper towel, really anything you need in your own home, we also need in our home too, because we're providing everything for our clients. So I like to think of it, if you're buying one for your house, you should grab another one and donate it to Golden House.
So if I want to be a volunteer, what's the process?
just call us. Give us a call, ask to speak with our volunteer coordinator, and she will sit down and talk to you about what you're interested in, what opportunities that we have, and then there's a quick 1 hour video that they will watch to ensure the safety for them, the safety for our clients while they're in our facility, and then really we would just start to schedule them when they were ready to come on board.
And I take it you've got to have some sort of training here. I mean, it's got to be a frightening experience that first time that you're on the telephone on the receiving end of a domestic abuse victim. You've got to know certain things, do you not? What to say, what not to say.
Yes, there's an extensive training that all of our staff go through as far as doing that. But with our volunteers, we really are looking at giving them the basics, right, of how to navigate those calls and send them to the appropriate people. So we're not necessarily looking at putting them through schooling for that, but we definitely need them to just be able to navigate those calls so that they can actually transfer those calls to the right people within the facility to have those conversations.
All right, earlier we talked about the person out there who's got the friend who is in need of help, and now that person knows what to do. What about the person watching right now who is being abused in some way, financially, physically, what have you? And they're understandably afraid to make that phone call. What advice do you give them?
I tell them that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to have fear, but really look at what's in your best interest. What do you want your life to look like? How do you want to live the next day forward so that you can live self-sufficiently on your own and to keep your kids safe? And that still may not be enough, but I would tell them that they do what's right for them in the moment and that they start to work with the people at Golden House so that we can at least start to put a plan together.
Mika, Marissa, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Yes, thank you.
Much appreciated. And if you have a newsmaker in your town who you think we should have on the show, let us know about it. Send us an email to tips@wearegreenbay.com, or you can message us on Facebook. And be sure to join us once again Sunday morning at 7. Until then, have a great day.